On Friday, February 28th, President Trump and Vice President Vance met with Ukrainian President Zelensky about finalizing an economic agreement giving the U.S. access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals and to discuss security assurances amid the Russo-Ukrainian war. Things did not go well, needless to say.
God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
Playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
You're
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
As many of you probably know, the meeting deteriorated into a public shouting match that was televised live, and Zelensky was asked to leave.
I've empowered you to be a tough guy, and I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out.
Maybe Zelensky should have shown up with a list of 5 things he did last week. I came up with a sample of Zelensky's list of the 5 things he did last week. Tried to push back a murderous dictator who invaded my country.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Bought some Lockheed Martin stock. Skimmed the art of the deal. Bought a suit for an important meeting. And lastly, tried to get in touch with Hunter Biden's dealer. Not art dealer, the other kind of dealer. You would think Zelensky would know how to handle Trump by now. You just stroke his ego and do a little ass kissing, which is what you should be doing anyway if you're reliant on another country for billions of dollars and your livelihood. And he always looks like a guy who just got done playing laser tag. He should have shown up and made a cute little joke about how Trump is the only person he'd ever put a suit on for, and then Trump would have given him the launch codes. We know how this works, people. Even I know how this works. I'm wearing a suit for this administration. The problem is, most people haven't watched the full 50 minutes of what happened. They only see the clips. And by most people, I mean us too. Because that's the way we consume everything these days. So we have a lot of stuff that's out of context. And the other problem is people have Trump derangement syndrome and it doesn't matter. There is no such thing as a sober analysis of anything Trump does. We're just left with the two Americas. One side is cheering, "This is what we voted for," and saying this is perfect. And the other side is appalled by the display and the clips they've seen and feels like America is abandoning its sacred duty.
Beaver flag follows duties.
To defend democracy and fight evil around the world, wherever it lurks, no matter the cost. And I say everyone came out looking like shit in this. So I didn't watch the whole thing, but I did read a summary of what actually happened written by Mark Thiessen, who is a Ukraine supporter. And it seems like this really was Zelensky's fuck up. Like he was coming here hat in hand, and it was supposed to be a very simple kind of, backslapping meeting. And Trump was gracious at first, even though Zelensky refused a request to wear a suit. Trump said, "I think he's dressed beautifully," and kind of trolled him.
I think he's dressed. I think he's dressed
I like
beautifully.
this guy.
I think he's dressed beautifully.
But also complimented. Initially, Trump publicly pledged to continue military aid to Ukraine. But then after a while, Zelensky started criticizing Trump in front of reporters, which is never a good move, on live television.
From the 2014, Putin broken 25 times. 25 times he broken ceasefire.
But he never broke to me. He never broke to me.
No, you were the president.
He
You were the president during.
He never broke to me.
In 2016, you've been the president, Mr. President. You've been the president.
Haven't you learned anything from the reality TV king?
This is going to be great television, I will say that.
I mean, yes, it's great television, but you're not going to win this. Then Trump was talking about the destruction of Ukrainian cities, and Zelensky contradicted him, saying, no, we have very good cities. You have to come see them, Mr. President. Basically implying that he was buying into Russian propaganda. But why would you contradict him on this point? Doesn't that kind of pull the heartstrings of people? Wouldn't the destruction of your cities drum up sympathy and support? Then a Polish journalist asked Trump whether he had aligned himself too much with Putin. I'm starting to talk about this in my then Trump asked him,
And I was like, damn, homie, she dumped it when you're on lockup? And he was like, yeah, I know, I thought I was gonna be with her forever, but now I'm all alone. And I was like, damn, homie, you know what? You gotta chin up because you'll find a new partner.
And Trump replied, you want me to say really terrible things about Putin and then say, hi, Vladimir, how are we doing on that deal? It doesn't work that way, which is true. Just like it's also true, Trump kind of loves Putin. Things really went off the rails when Zelensky made the comment, you don't feel it because you have an ocean protecting you, but one day you will. And let me tell you, watching that moment, I gasped like a gay man at a brunch. I was shook to my core when I heard him say that.
But you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future.
And then immediately Vance jumped in and was all, have you even said thank you once?
Have you said thank you once this
A lot
entire
of
meeting?
times.
No, in this
Even
entire meeting, have
today.
you said thank you?
He sounded like he was practicing scolding his teenagers. And a lot of women in my group chats were like, oh my God, this makes me so hot. And I will tell you, they have daddy issues because my immediate reaction was to roll my eyes and go, okay, dad. Like, oh, if you ever said thank you? It was his moment to make Daddy Trump proud. It did feel a little bit like, look at me. I mean, he's a lawyer. He's a very good debater. He's a master debater, if you will. It was very funny, too. Like, you come to this Oval Office, like the sanctity of this sacred Oval. We all know what's happened in that Oval Office, okay? There have been Kennedys. There have been Clintons. Okay, Dad, I got you this tank. If you haven't said thank you, and to be fair to Zelensky, he has said thank you. He opened the meeting saying thank you. He's also very publicly said thank you many, many times. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, but facts are facts. And then the meeting devolved into them all arguing and talking over each other. And then Zelensky was asked to leave. So this was a major fuck up on his part. Because all he had to do was go in there and be like, yay, hey guys, if he had signed the minerals deal, he would have walked away with the U.S. invested in Ukraine's independence. And instead, he alienated the guy who he is depending on to help him save his country. And he did it in front of cameras. What a moron. Moron! And I didn't buy into all the rumors of Zelensky being a cokehead, in case you didn't know those rumors exist, until that 50-minute sit-down that I watched only parts of. And then I was like, yeah, this maniac might be high on cocaine. Or maybe he's just exhausted from fighting a war with a Russian maniac. So yeah, long story short, now Trump has ordered a pause to all military aid to Ukraine. Because then, after this, Zelensky couldn't stop running his mouth. It was like someone needed to lock him away or he needs to resign. He's not doing him or his people any favors at the moment.
Yeah, Mark Thiessen in his article was saying, Trump left the door open and was like, basically just like, when you're ready to talk about peace, you're invited back. And all you have to do is apologize. And Zelensky refused.
It's weird that everyone's like, hey, this guy is a fascist. And he's like, I want peace. Can we stop with all of the death? This was supposed to be an exercise in transparency and diplomacy for the American people. I think it's good we get to see some of this. I also think it's bad because there's so much information that we are not privy to. So even while they're making these decisions and assessments, there's a lot of stuff that they are taking into consideration that we're never going to know about. And so the peanut gallery gets to see this public display of reality television with like one fraction of the knowledge that's available to them about this whole entire situation. Everything is so incoherent. If you're confused, you're not alone. It's a very confusing issue. That's why I wanted to avoid it. We here on Dumpster Fire have supported the Ukrainians in their fight against invaders. However, the longer this has dragged on and the more rabbit holes I've gone down, it does start to seem like a giant money laundering scheme for everyone in Europe and all these politicians in the United States. It can be both of these things. Putin is bad, and this is also absolute bullshit. It does seem sketchy. There is that weird connection to Burisma and, Hunter Biden and people being pardoned for previous years moving forward. Make sense of it for me. People keep asking me what my take is on this. Well, here it is. I don't know anything. I Don't know. I know it's scary, and I know I voted for a guy to figure this shit out so that I don't have to. And that's what he's doing. And I hope he's right. Make no mistake, this is what many Americans voted for. We are tired of our money going to endless wars in other countries. Influencers and pundits supporting the war with no real solution for how to get out of it start to sound a lot like politicians as they cavalierly talk about boots on the ground, which really means sending working class kids to war. And I know many Gen Z men personally who voted exactly for this because they don't want to go to war and they're worried with all of these encroaching conflicts all over the world that that's where they're going to be, fighting some Russian in the Ukrainian border. It is scary. It's a scary time. But like I said, I voted for him. I wanted things to be different. I didn't want us flushing billions of dollars down the toilet while eggs were becoming the caviar of breakfast food. All the neocons might get what they want because it looks like the economy's going to crash. And you know what fixes that? War! Lo and behold, maybe Trump does know what he's doing. Maybe it's 4D chess. Or maybe they're making a World War III baby in Ukraine, and I'll get to see if hiding under my desk actually works when the nukes start flying. Only time will tell. I have a solution. Trump and Putin should just play 18 holes for Ukraine. Winner takes all. Tell Maggie in the comments, is this an American disgrace, or is this what you voted for? We want to know. I mean, it is a very complicated issue, and morons like me should not be forced to engage in it or dissect it. But also, it's a fucking dumpster fire, and I can't ignore it, because that is the name of the show, unfortunately. And the unicorns dance while the world burns. And there is the fun dumpster part of this show, and then there's the not so fun fire part of this show, and we are in the fire. Look, I try to make war and death as funny as possible.
But it's a hard sell.